Hey guys, it's Sekaar, and today we're going to be going over my StamSorc build for the Necrom Chapter. I wanted to try something a little bit different today and record with my webcam on. I shifted my webcam over to the other side because when I'm streaming, it was blocking my chat or whatever, so I wanted to shift it over so I'm not blocking anything. So guys, let me know if you like the webcam better, if it takes away from the build, whatever. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd appreciate all input on that. Also, just leaving any kind of comments or liking the video helps me in the algorithm tremendously. So please consider doing one of, if not both of those things. So guys, let's get started with that build. First things first, we're gonna be looking at our character sheet. We're definitely gonna want to be Imperial on our StamSorc. I always go Imperial on my StamSorcs because of the reduced cost passive on everything. You don't build into any kind of sustain outside of Imperial on my builds. So in my opinion, I just think that this is best in slot. Having that 6% reduced cost on all of your abilities is absolutely amazing. And so if you don't want to be an Imperial, I feel like the other three viable options for your races, because I know it's a DLC class and you need to buy it. I think that Khajiit would be very good. I think that Orc would be very good. And I think that Wood Elf would be very good as well. Our attributes are going to break down with 31 points into health and 33 points into stamina to give us a max magic pool of 16.5k, a max health pool of 31.8k, and a max stam pool of 21.3. Our Mundus is going to be the warrior to increase our weapon damage as much as possible. And we're also going to be using Jewels of Mizrael for our food. This is going to increase our stamina and magic recovery by 315, and also it's going to increase our max health by 3,485. And then we're also going to be Vampire Stage Tree as always. That tankiness with that Undeath passive is phenomenal. The lower health you are, the less damage you take. I definitely recommend doing this. And then moving on to our gear. We're going to be using one-piece Balorgs because we have two 5-piece sets on our front bar, basically. So we can't fit a whole monster set on this. So using Balorgs is going to be our one-piece. We're going to be using a heavy reinforced helmet because the reason why we're doing this is because Balorg, the one-piece, gives us an extra weapon and spell damage. So if you want to build into Pen, use something like Scoria. If you want to use crit, which I would probably do moving forward with this build, but I still like Balorgs, use Slimecraw helmet. That's going to be really good for this build. Then after this, moving on to one of our 5-piece sets, we're going to be using Dragon's Appetite. This is going to be on our body at all times. We're going to be using a medium shoulder in Divines. Dragon's Appetite does is it gives us line of weapon and spell damage, 2 lines of stam recovery, and then increases your damage done to bleeding enemies by 217, so that's a great extra source of damage. And then also dealing non-bleed damage to bleeding enemies generates a persistent stack of Dragon's Appetite. So you can get that stack once every half a second, and once you get to 10 stacks, which isn't that much to be honest, if you're just doing damage every second, you're gonna get there pretty quickly. You're going to heal for 8,817 health, so that is great for your overall healing. You're just doing that constantly because you're using rending, so you're going to have your bleeding damage on them at all times. So personally, I really like this. I think this is a great way to go for this build. It really helps your overall burst heals because StamSorc always lacks in burst heals, so this really helps with that, and I definitely think that this is the way to go. Then we're also going to be using Dragon's Appetite as our chest piece in heavy reinforced. We'll also be using Dragon's Appetite in our hands with medium impen. Our legs are going to be Dragon's Appetite, heavy reinforced. And our feet are going to be Dragon's Appetite, medium in impen. Then our front bar set is going to be Draugr. We're going to be using a light Draugr sash in impen. Draugr is going to give us a line of max magic, offensive pen, magic recovery, and increases your damage done by 330, but reduces your healing taken by 10%, which is why we're only front barring it. We do not want it on our back bar. I've tried it where it's on our body at all times, and where it's affecting both our front and our back bar, and I don't like it at all. I feel like the healing reduction from that 10% is huge, and I don't think it's you can definitely struggle with it, and I've noticed it. So only front barring Draugr is the way to go. And I know a lot of people are still asking me in the comments every now and then why Draugr over other sets is because that damage done by 330 is a flat 330 damage. It's not an extra 330 weapon and spell damage. It's a flat 330 damage. So if you hit an ability for 1000 damage with Draugr, it's going to get buffed to 1330. So it's going to buff your overall damage by everything. And I definitely recommend trying this. It just crazy increases your damage on everything. And then Draugr is going to be our jewelry as well. We're going to be using a Bloodthirsty necklace with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. We're also going to be using a Draugr ring, Bloodthirsty, with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. And then our mythic is going to be Markin. This is going to be Bloodthirsty, again, with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. Markin is going to give us 200 weapon and spell damage and also 2314 armor, so it's going to increase our overall damage. It's going to increase our tankiness. It's great overall. Just a solid setup. And then our front bar weapons are going to be, I'm just tripping over my own words at this point. Our front bar weapons are going to be dual-wield Draugr maces. Our main hand is going to be Nirnhoned with a poison damage enchantment on it. And our offhand is going to be sharpened with a disease enchantment on it. Then our back bar is going to be Vadistron's Perfected Ice Staff. If you don't have Perfected, the regular is fine because their Perfected line is offensive pen. This is going to be on our back bar. We don't really need pen on our back bar at all, but it's going to be defending with increased weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. So this is going to basically make a beam between you and the enemy that you place this on, and it's going to be doing damage every second. And it's great because, you know, this is going to be doing damage once every second, so that's automatically proccing a stack of your Dragon's Appetite once every second. So this is great for your overall damage with that. And I just think that this is, and you're healing too. So, and on top of this, this ability is going to be doing crazy damage over time. And the ability that activates this is also going to give you Major Breach. So you're going to be reducing your enemy's physical and covers. So overall, Vadistron is stacked. It's good. It's so good for your damage. And I just definitely recommend it. Moving on to our skills, our front bar skills, our main spammable is going to be Rending Slashes. It's going to be what's putting your bleed on your enemies. So this is going to be, once you have your bleed on your enemy, you're just going to be able to, any other damage you do, it's going to build towards that Dragon's Appetite, and it's going to build towards that heal. So that's huge. Always keep that in mind. Also, every single bit of damage from this and the dot on this is going to be buffed by Draugr. So that is huge for your damage. I just really like it. I definitely felt the difference between using Draugr and other sets. Draugr is definitely one of my favorite sets in the game right now, and I definitely recommend trying it out as much as you guys can. Moving on, we're going to be using Camo Hunter on our front bar as well. So this is the reason why we have this is because you get Major Savagery and Prophecy from this, so it's going to increase your weapon and spell crit. Also, you're going to gain Minor Berserk for 5 seconds after dealing critical damage from an enemy's flank. So that's huge. Don't sleep on that at all. And then Crystal Weapon. This is going to be a nice little burst that you can combo with your Rending. Hitting this is going to make it so that your next light attack or heavy attack is going to do a lot of extra damage. So casting this and then casting Rending simultaneously, basically, it is a great way to chunk your enemy's health. And there have been times where I get an enemy to like 50% health just because of these two abilities, and it's insane when that happens. You just see somebody start to panic so quickly. Also, Streak. This is going to be a great ability. There's so many different ways you could use this. You could use this as a CC. You could use this as a way to engage into a fight. You can use this as a way to disengage into a fight, or out of a fight, sorry. So this is just a great way to just make sure that you're in control of the fight at all times, and you just know exactly when to get in, when to get out. Streak is definitely the way to go. And then Whirling Blades is going to be our execute on this build. So when your enemies are at low health, hit this over them, and you are just absolutely finishing that kill off. Also, a great combo to use is Streak into Whirling Blades, because then it CCs them. But make sure, my best advice is make sure that when you use this, back up for a little bit. When you use Streak, like back up, it's like 2 feet or something, and then use Whirling Blades on them. That way you don't have to streak over them and then run back to go Whirling Blades on them. Make sure your streak kind of lands on top of your enemy. That way you can activate your Whirling Blades right away and get at least one of them off before your enemy CC streaks. Also, I've been trying Thriving Chaos lately, and I actually really like it. I think one of my clips in this video has Dawnbreaker on it, but besides that, I think the rest have Thriving Chaos, and this has been absolutely crazy fun. Shout out to both Oki and Fluffy for putting me on this. This has been a lot of fun to use with the build like this. The amount of pressure that it provides is insane. You put crazy good bleed damage on them for 8 seconds. And also you're going to be healing for 50%, 56% of the damage done. So you're just absolutely getting so much health back. I definitely recommend trying this. I think that with this entire build, with rending and that dot on them, you are hitting so hard, and I definitely recommend trying this. It was just nice to try something new, and I definitely loved it. Also, we're going to be using Crit Surge on our back bar. This is going to be your source of major brutality and sorcery, so it's going to increase your weapon and spell damage by 20%. Then on top of that, critically damaging an enemy is going to heal you for 3,600 health. So that can occur once every second. So you want your crit damage up as much as possible, because doing that is just going to heal you passively over time, and that's great for your overall heals. And then Hurricane is going to be your source of major resolve, so it's going to increase your physical and spell resistance by 6k. Then on top of that, you're also going to be having a nice little AoE damage around you. So this AoE damage is going to do multiple things that you want to keep in mind. So first of all, it's not much damage, so you don't really need to worry about that, but it is going to be proccing stacks of your Dragon's Appetite, so it's going to give you a nice heal in the long run. And on top of that, it can, even though it's low damage, it can still crit, and that can proc your Crit Surge to give you that health every 1 second. So if it crits, it's going to give you that heal, and that's great overall. And plus, it's going to be buffed by Draugryan, so it's going to increase the damage of this by 330 each time, so that's massive. So I definitely recommend using Hurricane on this. It's a StamSorc, obviously you're going to use Hurricane, but I just want you guys to keep that in mind between both of those Dragon's Appetite procs and your Crit Surge procs. People don't really keep that in mind too much, so try and keep that, you know, when you're fighting and using your StamSorc, try and keep that in mind. Also, Resolving Vigor, this is going to be your main 5-second heal over time, and then also you're going to be getting Minor Resolve, so it's going to increase your physical and spell resistance by 3k for 20 seconds. And then Dark Deal, this is going to be basically how you sustain on this build. You're going to be sacrificing magic for health and stam. And also, this got buffed this patch, which is awesome. I didn't think that needed buffing, but I'm cool with it. Using this is going to give you Minor Berserk and Minor Force for 10 seconds. So it's going to increase your damage done by 5%, and it's also going to increase your critical damage by 10%. So that's insane. Like, I don't know who thought that that was a good idea. But, I mean, I'll take it as a person who likes to play StamSorc very often. Look, I'll take that extra damage buff. I don't think it needed it, but hey, look, I'll take it. And then Ellie's Susceptibility. This is going to be what's proccing your Vatishron staff. It's going to get that beam damage out there. And also, you're going to be affecting your enemies with a Major Breach. So it's going to reduce their physical and spell resistance by 6k. Also, every 7.5 seconds that the enemy is afflicted with this, they're also going to be afflicted with the Burning, Chilled, and Concussion status effects, which is why on our dual-wield weapons, as you remember, we have Poison Damage enchantments and Disease enchantments. So that's 5 status effects right there. And then also, if I remember correctly, yeah, Rending is going to proc them with Hemorrhaging status effects. So you've got 6 status effects on your enemies at all times when you are lining this up. So you are just absolutely dotting your enemies up. The amount of damage that they're taking from all of that is insane. And also the amount of damage that you're going to be putting on them while they have a bleed on them is going to proc your Dragon's Appetite so often. I definitely recommend trying that out. Also, why do I say that so often? I definitely recommend trying that out. I say that so often. I need to stop. Anyways, Summon Charge Atro is going to be our back bar ultimate. It's going to be a nice little AoE that you put around you. It's going to be also, it's great for multiple things. One, I like it for the damage. I think the damage is so slept on and people don't really think about it too often, especially if you're in a 2-man group. Your ally can activate a synergy and get Major Berserk from this. So it's going to increase their damage jump by 10%. So that's massive. Also, on top of this, if you're in a open area, you can use this as a line of sight, and you know, if you really need to. And I think that that's really good for your overall damage mitigation. And I said it before, but I'll say it again. That damage that this thing does every 2 seconds is honestly insane. I definitely like this over a lot of other abilities. I feel like not a lot of people use this, and I just think that people should use this more often if they're trying to do StamSorc, because I just love the damage it does. Then finally onto our champion points. Our blue slottables are going to be Focus Mending. Ironclad, Master at Arms, and Thaumaturge. Our red slottables are going to be Pain's Refuge, Sustained by Suffering, Survival Instincts, and Celerity. And then our green tree, as always, the only things we really care about are Breakfall, Rationer, and Liquid Efficiency. And that is the entire video, you guys. I hope that you guys enjoy. Also, I need to get into the habit of doing this more often. I use tripods on my builds. I basically use them on all my builds. So I definitely use it. I know a lot of people still... Wait. That's not even a tripod. I don't even know why I showed that. That's not even... Either way, my potions that I use on all my builds are tripods. So I know people still ask me about what potions I use. Tripods, always. So guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy the webcam stuff, I know it's a little bit different, let me know in the comments again. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. We just passed 6,100 subs, so if we can make it to 7K as soon as possible, I would appreciate that. The goal is to get to 10K by the end of the year. I don't know if that's possible, but if we just get everybody to sub to the channel, which is free, by the way, just click that button. Maybe it's possible. I would appreciate it. We'll see what happens. But guys, any more announcements? 2 more announcements, sorry. One, if you're not following the Twitch, I stream 5 days a week where I test out all these builds and only the best ones make to this YouTube channel. And I try a lot of builds on my Twitch. Not every single one works, I can promise you that. But guys, if you want to see the whole process of it and you just want to hang out with me, go follow my Twitch. Link will be in the description. Also, if you also want to do me one more favor, I have a second YouTube channel that I started up where it's just my VODs on Twitch. You guys don't need to watch the videos. They're just my VODs. It's nothing that's really too interesting in my opinion. Just, I mean, it is interesting. It's just my old Twitch clips anyway. I'm ranting. But if you guys want to go sub to that as well, really the reason why you guys do that to help me is once we get to 1,000 subs on that other channel, we can get it monetized, and that could just make the full-time content creator gig an actual reality, and just an extra source of monetization for me that is really helpful for my passive income. So if you guys want to go sub to that second YouTube channel, that link will also be in the description. I would highly appreciate it. Guys, that is it from me. I've talked your guys' ears off so much. Let's get on to the gameplay footage. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.
Close.